Well, hello, Michelle. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Erika. Thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited
Yes.
to be here.
Yes, I'm so excited to have you. It's always such a pleasure being able to feature one of my bootcamp students on the podcast. That's always kind of my goal, is to feature the success stories and, hear kind of your experiences and share, you can share with everybody your highs and lows, because there's just so much when it comes to YouTube and the journey on YouTube. So excited to dive into your story. And why don't we just first just jump in with you sharing with our listeners and viewers what inspired you to start a YouTube channel?
So I had actually tried, and I say tried, doing
Mhm.
YouTube. My gosh, I think 2015 was when I posted my first video,
Hmm.
and I was aiming for it to be a makeup channel.
Oh.
But honestly, back then, I think I just didn't know how. I was naive. I was like, and maybe just didn't even know how to put in the work. Um, the thumbnails and all the things. Like right now, I've have discovered 90% of the work is really not the video. The video is like the easiest part. So it's everything else. So that was when I tried. And then I tried again during COVID, kind of with makeup again. Um, but I didn't get serious until 2020,
Hmm.
when it was like, look how many years I wasted. Look, you're in the same spot. I keep telling myself I'm going to do it. So I need to apply myself and do it. So it's been, you know, I want to say like this next round really started like end of 2020, beginning of 2021. But if I count all those years, just because it's realistic of like, you can't just you can't just get up and running. There's a lot to learn in being serious about your YouTube channel. So I had to be serious about it and treat it like a business.
So before that, was it more of a hobby for you, or what was your kind of goal and intention with starting it?
Okay, so before that, I was actually doing live streams on Periscope, which doesn't
Oh,
exist.
yeah.
So it was hard for me to transition from like
Mm.
not having a live audience to just talking to a camera.
Mm.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of scary things too, and you're just like, I'm gonna put myself on YouTube.
So were you doing makeup on Periscope?
Yeah, I was.
Oh, wow.
Um, so I had like live feedback and people to talk to,
Hmm.
but fast forward a few years later, it's like I see that internally, maybe I didn't really believe that I could be on YouTube.
Why?
Um, Different things because of my age.
Hmm.
I always somehow felt like I wasn't qualified, even though I was.
Oh.
Like internal blocks. And at the time too, like my eczema was starting to get really bad. So just
Mm.
putting anything on my face would make me blow up. So I was really self-conscious about that too, which now this round of YouTube has really helped me to break out of. So I would admit there were a lot of internal barriers, mindset barriers that were just keeping me. Maybe it's like both fear of failure and fear of success at the same time. But then also to like, I was also in the era of trying to do everything myself.
Mm.
And that means before I'd hire, um, not even just you as a YouTube coach, but like mindset coaches, business coaches, I hadn't really dug into all of that. I was still pushing all along, like, let me just, it's like I call it the Asian daughter syndrome. Let me just prove I can do everything myself.
Mm. Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
really, I mean, in hindsight, it's like the things that I did, it probably just really set me back. And this
Hmm.
was in pertaining to what I was doing in makeup. Like I had
Mm.
off of Periscope, I had created like a lipstick line and other things, but I was going about everything like without a real coach,
Hmm.
which essentially just puts you back because then you have too much on your plate.
Yeah, and then it ends up taking just so much more time. You have to think about what's more valuable. And I think that's always the key when it comes to thinking about if you want to invest in a program or a course. I mean, I personally have invested in several, and I have to say that every single one that I've invested in, I've gotten something out of it, something, whether it's like relationships. Sometimes it's just, I've made relationships with people in certain courses or programs, and just that in and of itself gave me, a return on investment, right? Or just one little thing that I changed that I probably wouldn't have done otherwise if I wasn't given some feedback. It's so invaluable. Like I'm such a huge believer in that. But I think people have to get comfortable with the idea of investing in themselves, and also, time versus money. It's like you can figure it out on your own, like you said, but it takes a lot longer.
Oh, yeah.
A lot longer and a lot more time.
And I didn't even know what I needed. Like, I didn't even know what type of coaches I needed. So there was a lot of money wasted there of just like, oh, no, didn't need that coach.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's something to expect as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Is that you are going to have that period of like, what the heck do I do next?
Exactly. So let's talk about you kind of investing in the boot camp.
So I was actually introduced to you early on by Nicole Sanchez.
Oh, Nicole. Oh, I didn't know you knew. Okay. Okay.
I
I
met
love
her 3 years ago
Nicole.
when we had met in person, like,
Oh,
so,
long time ago then. Yeah.
yeah. So I
Mm-hmm.
think I was following you on social media. I was listening to your podcast. I believe I joined boot camp after like 1 full year of me being a YouTuber. I mean, when I started to take it seriously.
Oh,
So
okay.
like January 1st, 2021 was like, we're going every week. So I believe it was the following year, right? If I'm
2022.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So in 2021, I started to see some success, had some success with my videos. Not, a few hits
Mm-hmm.
in there. I knew I needed just a little bit like someone to do it with, accountability
Mm-hmm.
and guidance of like, when you start out, it's kind of like, let me make this video and see what happens.
Yeah. Throwing
So
spaghetti on the wall. Yeah.
now I'm much more strategic about it. So what really helps too is just having eyeballs on it and having the presence of other YouTubers who are just a like little bit bigger than me, who have been
Mm-hmm.
doing it. So I have someone to follow.
How were you feeling about your channel at that time when you made the decision to join?
Oh, I was super excited because like I knew I had done some good things, right, to start growing it. So I think when I joined, I was between 7,000 and 8,000 followers, subscribers, something around there. I can't remember exactly. But like I said, I just needed that extra, like, just even someone to look at it and be able to step outside of myself. Because, when you're in it, it's just like you're in a vortex and you can't see your mistakes or what things you need. So I was super excited about my channel at the time, and I just knew that I could keep going, and I did not want to go backward. Like, I did not want to fall into my old ways and talk myself out of something. Like, I'm guilty of doing that in the past.
Then you thought that having accountability or coach would help you move forward in a way?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I believe in that now in all areas where I hadn't, as I mentioned, I hadn't discovered really coaching of anything before.
Mm.
Um, and just surrounding myself with like people. It's really important, and especially when you're, you know, like my channel is mine, and I essentially could sit at the computer by myself for the whole week and not talk to anyone. So it's really
Yeah.
important to have like good influences around you, people who are doing the same thing you're doing.
Was that part of the incentive for you of joining the boot camp, was the fact that it was kind of a group program?
Oh yeah, definitely. And honestly, I don't know if I had expectations of what I would get out of it. I just felt like the investment would be worth it
Mm-hmm.
because like, it would pay itself off right away. The alternative is not doing it. Like you said, investing in yourself, just and keeping me more focused, because I could have easily spent that money like bought another handbag or
Mm-hmm.
yoga classes or something like that. So just in my business and in my life in general, when I decided to focus on YouTube, everything I did that year had to be related to my business.
So you were really ready to take it seriously.
Oh, yeah. I know. Some people might think that's overboard because I mean, I even had to cut out parts of my social life, most of my social life, because, like I said, time's money and everything I did, every influence in my life, I wanted to be focused on my journey.
I don't think that's crazy because you talk to most YouTube creators that are in the beginning stages, kind of like how you are. A lot of them make those sacrifices. I mean, a lot of them say that, when they made that decision to go all in, they made sacrifices with their time, with investing, in programs or coach, and everything that they were doing was focused towards that goal. And I think YouTube, it's a hard platform to master, but when you do, there's great rewards, but it takes commitment.
Oh, yeah. Just also knowing that I needed a guidance,
Mm.
you.
Hmm.
Like, I needed, not just a push, but, like, someone who has done it before me,
Hmm.
because as you know, like YouTube's just always changing. And I discovered it had changed so much back from like 2015 when I was trying to do my little makeup videos. Um, so I wanted to make sure that like I can be as on top of it as I can. There's a couple of creators in the group actually that like I'm blown away by, and I want to be where they are, and having that support from people who have done it before.
Mm.
So I knew that I didn't want to keep spinning my wheels,
Mm.
just like popping out videos, because I could keep doing that, but knowing it would take me longer
Hmm.
trying to do
Hmm.
something on my own. Even just having the group and having that accountability of like, did you get your video out is so important. It seems like such a small thing. The little assignments or things that I might not have thought about, like shorts. That's a new
Hmm.
thing.
Hmm.
Like,
Hmm.
wait, I have to do that too. Just being able to, I knew I had to like just have that little extra.
Yeah.
Um, and not little, like it's a big extra actually to not try to navigate it on your own. Because I mean, it's essentially like going to a new school or starting a new job.
Hmm.
That these type of things, if you want to take it seriously, like I knew that whatever I could do to make the growth of my channel not just faster but more meaningful, so that everything
Mm.
that I do has a purpose.
Mm. I
What I
love
mean by that, instead of like, I see a lot of creators that just create stuff and their channels grow very slowly. And I wanted to eliminate that because eventually you're wasting time if you're you know, just doing your own thing.
it. Hmm. You first sign on with the boot camp. Tell me what it was like for you going through it.
Well, it was super helpful to just be able to ask you some questions. Like I remember I think the biggest thing for me and still is like, I mean, gosh, everything is challenging about YouTube, which I think people don't realize. Like there
Hmm.
are a lot of challenges. So I was really challenged on thumbnails.
Mm.
So, and that's the thing that I still, I know it's like I can't do this in 20 minutes. Sometimes it takes me 2 hours to do them. So some of the recorded lessons you had, went through those first, and just in that too, making sure that I was still doing my videos. It's not a course where you can let me just go through the course before I make my first video. It was good to just have those little tidbits that I could improve as I go, and then it helped me to think about each next video more strategically.
Yeah, and I saw. I know. I remember seeing you pop into the Facebook group, asking about thumbnails and getting feedback on that.
And it's also helpful just to see what other people are doing, to see other people's thumbnails, to see the feedback that you and your team give to them and
Hmm.
that we receive from you guys too. So everyone's channel and niche is so different. So, and also what works for one person might not work for me or for someone else. But with that said, there's definitely something to learn from just observing what other people are doing too.
Hmm.
So I get a lot of ideas from it.
There's definitely like a workshop element to thumbnail creation, and I'm a big believer too because I work with a lot of creators one on one, and then I have my agency where we run YouTube channels. Like the thumbnail process is, I find that like the collaborative effort is always it's always the best, right? Versus just kind of on your own. So having, having a place that you could go to and be like, hey guys, so you get the feedback from me and the group.
Oh, for sure. The feedback is very valuable because otherwise, before that, it was just like, let me hit publish and see where it goes, without. And it's like, who do I have to ask? I don't have any like immediate friends in my area who are doing YouTube that I can just go, hey, can you look at this for me? I have other friends that do YouTube, but what works for them doesn't necessarily work for like me, a fashion channel. So that helps tremendously, just having that, like, even if it's just change this font or change the color of this or the background or whatever that's in there, it really helps, which also in turn just builds the creator's confidence of like, okay, we can have some direction of like where we're going with the next one.
So what would you say is the biggest breakthrough that you had going through the boot camp, or breakthroughs if you have more than one?
It definitely builds confidence because I noticed there's creators with less subscribers than me that I was like, okay, I know how they felt when they were just kind of going through it at first. And I was actually surprised that there's creators with like a lot more subscribers than me who still need the help, the feedback and stuff, which, it's great. It's at any level, like we just need support from each other. That's one of the biggest things, the confidence and the reassurance. Maybe you recall I had posted something like issues we ran across, like somebody had copied my video and my thumbnail and my title.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So it's something that's like, oh my gosh, it gets under my skin. But then to hear from other creators that it happened to them as well, that, it makes it, doesn't make it okay, but it helps that it's like, okay, I don't have to freak out. If it happened to me, I must be doing something good.
Yeah, and it's probably helpful to know that it's like you said, like I remember that post in the group and there was a lot of comments, and probably helpful to know just other people experience it. Like you're not alone.
Yeah, because that's a big deal because you really, so many things have come up with YouTube. You're running your own business where it's just like you might open your phone and see a comment and just go, what the heck? So to have the gals like be able to discuss things with, it does help. Like we help each other that way.
We have people in there that have been there for a really long time because we have like an alumni program where you can just kind of stay and hang out, and then it's a mix between people that are new, people that have been around for a long time, like you said, people with a lot of subscribers, people that are just starting to blow up, people that are getting started. So it's a nice mix of people, but everybody has the same goal, right? To be successful on YouTube. You mentioned confidence a couple times. Was that something that you struggled with prior to joining the bootcamp?
I really felt like I didn't know what I was doing. And like, are people going to watch me? Am I presenting correctly? But one of the huge things was that I have really severe eczema. So right now it's more under control because I've been taking therapy shots for it. So I don't know if I mentioned this before. There were times where I just didn't want to shoot. The YouTube community or any social media, people can be very vicious. But there was one video that I did where I didn't show my head. And I believe it was like that following weekend I did a live stream and I'd mentioned it. And all these viewers that I had, and I had started building a community by then, so I kind of knew the regulars, but they were the ones who told me that we don't see the eczema, we don't see what you see. And it was so freeing for me. So that was really one of my huge confidence hangups because I was when we look ourselves in the mirror and on camera, we pick at everything. Like even like, is my hair in place? Just hearing that response from total strangers, it was so freeing for me to be like, okay, it's okay. Because my skin's gonna have good days and bad days. But I can't like let that hang me up from from the people who want me to show up, right? So it's like, if I need to show up for someone else, I need to show up for myself, and kind of erase that part, because it's never going to go away. It is what it is. And in the long scheme of things, the big scheme of things, okay, so I have a little redness on my skin. I'm a little like flaky on my skin. And that's where it's like, that started to break down a lot of walls for me, of like, if the camera's not perfect, if something in the video is not perfect, don't worry, just send it out.
Do you have any of these questions or concerns about your YouTube channel? Did I pick the right niche? Should I be focusing on this audience for my channel? What kind of videos should I create that will attract a good, loyal audience? Why am I growing so slow? I'm so overwhelmed with YouTube and I don't know if what I'm doing is the right thing to do to grow. Let me tell you, you are not alone. Those are some of the questions I get asked most often as a YouTube strategist and coach for the last 7 years. And that is why I created my all-new Audience Attraction System mini course. The Audience Attraction System is based off of my experience coaching hundreds of YouTubers, many of which have grown tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of subscribers and attracted millions upon millions of views. I took the system that I use with my coaching clients and packaged it into the Audience Attraction System so that you now have access to this incredible action plan at an affordable price. I want to give you the system you need to skyrocket your YouTube channel and start seeing results ASAP. Whether you're ready to blow up and scale the YouTube channel you already have, or you're just getting started but want to start seeing YouTube growth yesterday. The Audience Attraction System is a perfect fit for you. You can learn more about it by going to erikavieira.net/YAAS. Again, that is erikavieira.net/YAAS. I hope to see you on the inside. What would you say helped you most inside of the bootcamp?
You know what's really helpful, and it might seem kind of minor too, but Grace Ann, she posts every weekend or like every week, list something that you did, or like a different thing. She'll post self-care, or like, what were your accomplishments? Let's celebrate your wins.
Yeah.
Those little things are really important. It's more important than people think it is. So like every day I journal, and that's part of that, of like celebrating your wins. I noticed that, especially in the beginning stages, creators can be really down on themselves. Like, I didn't do this right, I didn't do that right. So just going back and celebrating your wins. If you posted a video, that's a win. It doesn't matter who saw it, how many views or not. So those little reminders are very helpful, especially if I can think back and go, oh, I did not do anything this week. I better do something. Or I didn't do the 3 things that I said I was going to do. Maybe I did 1 out of the 3. So it's a win, but also a kick in the butt of like, okay, now do the other things. Don't just let them like fall off your plate. And then also seeing like what other people post and what they're doing too. It just helps to like move those creative juices.
Sometimes it just takes one little spark and then you're like, oh, there's like, it might not be the exact same idea, but it's something that like you said, gets those creative juices going. When your channel started to gain some traction, because I know that you had a few videos start to go really viral while you were in the boot camp. What did that look like for you? And what, if anything, changed in your mind when that happened?
Well, it's exciting for one. It's super when you open your app and the view count is like higher than normal, and then it's getting higher and higher. It opens the door for more sponsorships, which is awesome. I think one of the side effects, though, that is a little difficult is like, I put a lot of pressure on myself to have another hit, or like, okay, now there's a new audience. What do they want? So that part can be challenging. I've had to like kind of just step back and take a couple of like mental breaks to remind myself, like, don't try to satisfy all the comments because they're never going to be satisfied. But it is like, it's proof that YouTube works. Like, it's hard to see when you're doing it, you're just doing video after video. But with those hit videos I did have, it's a confidence booster for one, and ego boost too. And you're hearing from people who like, oh, would I have seen you on the street? It's feedback for sure. And it's also helped with knowing that I'm on the right path. I think at first as a small creator, it is hard to kind of like, does the audience want this from me? And I felt like maybe I was trying to chase other creators instead of just doing my own thing. It's definitely a balance of like, there do have to be videos that I know, okay, this is trending right now. People want to know about these things right now, with a mix of, I guess, more opinionated videos of like, okay, this is from my experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I've learned a lot from that. How do I say it? Yeah, I guess just really finding my authenticity and finding my voice. There was one early last year, about this time that last year. I think was fairly new in your boot camp, so that one started to run. And then what's hard is there's a lull after that. Then you go back down. So the ups and downs of YouTube, like that is important to learn too, of like not every video is going to be a hit. And then my big hit was in September. And that video now has 234,000 views, something like that. So that was my biggest. I think off the bat, that was like, had 30,000 views in the first few days. Okay, that changed everything. I got a lot of attention for that video, a bigger audience. And I think I got to be more of myself too. I got a lot of feedback about how my audience really appreciated my honesty. So that ties with what I was saying about like not chasing other creators or trying to be something I'm not. So from there too, I also, with the attention that I got from that video, it gave me more of a confidence of like, okay, I have to quit my job now. I can really take off with this. I mean, not with that one video, but take off with just keep doing YouTube. Keep focused, spend more time doing videos, spend more time on my social media. With the sponsorships come opportunity for affiliate money. I think also just knowing that, oh, wow, people want to hear what I have to say. People want to hear my next video. They want to hear me tell the next story. So it gets, that's when it got really exciting for me, but also very stressful too. Because like I said, it's like, okay, I always think, how am I going to follow that? Am I going to have another hit? Like, is that it? Or is that it? I don't want to be a one-hit wonder. And with the ebbs and flows, the ups and downs of YouTube, of course, it's scary. It's like, I might have really good months where I make a decent amount. And then the next month, it's like, goes back down to a baseline. Yeah. But I guess that's part of entrepreneurship too. There's a couple of big fashion channels who are in the boot camp too. So just being able to reach out to them for advice, that really helped me too. I don't want to be undercutting myself when it comes to sponsorships. So that part's hard to navigate too. But with the views I've been getting, I also realize like, I am the talent. Like they're the ones that want me. So I am allowed to ask for what I want. So it changed the perspective. It's not like I was like, oh wait, I'm not begging people to watch me. I'm not begging people to sponsor me. And just switching that mindset, I'm in control of this. And I'm in control of the content I put out. I'm not in control of what comes in, but just having a more positive mindset about it, it makes the process easier. So all the hard work I'm putting in, it's like it now has a purpose and a destination. I'm doing a lot more sponsored videos than I was doing before. So even that, like that is a challenge. Like how much more time it takes now. But I also know that it's like the more that I do, the more exposure that I get. So having those larger fashion channels, just to be able to converse with those ladies of like, what should I ask for? What are the things? One gal gave me very good advice about a contract. Like, what are the things you should be able to renegotiate later down the line? And I wouldn't necessarily have thought of those things. Before that video, most of my sponsors were like one and done, or maybe just like, I've had a couple that ask me every few months. But now bigger deals are coming in where, and they're requesting month after month type of work. So I am learning through them, just like, okay, other things that I should look at and think about, because I could sign this thing and I have to stop looking at the contract as one and done. I have to look at it as like, this is your business now. So, and it does change the way I do the videos, because in the past, some of them were just like, almost like a throwaway. Okay, here's the contract, here's the video, it's done. Now I'm starting to look at them like, okay, what are the relationships that I can build with this platform going forward, and what are the long-term relationships I can build with it?
Yeah, I do think it's really cool that there's a lot of conversation in the Facebook group about brands, working with brands, what people experience, because I feel like that a lot of that information is not really talked about, but just very transparently, on the outside. But I love it when I see people coming in there and they're literally talking like prices, how much. People get really, really like into that. And that's what I want, is to be a safe space, so that people, like large creators too, feel safe and comfortable sharing that. Because I think there's, a lot of large creators, they do want to help, I think, because they're all where, you were at, or like, other beginners were at. And I think they do want to help, but this is kind of a safe environment. So I see you in there a lot. You do ask, now that I think about it, you do ask a lot of questions about brand deals and stuff. And I think it's great. I love those conversations in the boot camp.
Yeah, they definitely help.
Yeah.
And just seeing what people's responses are. Yeah, it definitely helps. I remember one of the calls I did with you, like I was sitting at work and now I don't have to sit there anymore. Yeah, because that's one of the things I was able to eliminate off my plate because of YouTube. So it was good to be able to get like specific questions answered. I remember early on too, some of the questions I asked. I think one was about thumbnails, and another was about it was about my niche. It was about, my gosh, how many more videos can I do about handbags? But, months later, the way it has evolved is actually the way I had wanted it to. So from the calls, I think just having that reassurance, because like I said, it's like, I can't really ask, like, who am I going to ask? My friend, my dad, my brother, hey, what do you think about this?
Yeah.
What do you think about this?
Yeah.
And real life, like, people who aren't doing what I'm doing have zero input or the wrong input. I mean, how many times have I heard people say you should do content for men when my audience is like 85% women?
Yeah. It's like, why would you do content for men?
Right?
Yeah.
So it's like, well, I don't need to hear outside noise. So the group and the calls is like really the place where I can get those questions, or even if it's just reassurance of like, hey, what do you guys think about this? And am I doing this correctly? Or how does this look? And just having that instant feedback. You don't want to go out in the world where people aren't doing YouTube because we don't want their opinions.
Yeah, they don't.
I mean, to an extent we do, but then it's like, as long as we're not offending anyone. But like I said, it's a business, so you're not getting what you need if you just ask anyone.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, why would you ask someone that doesn't know?
Right.
YouTube, that doesn't make any sense at all. Was it while you were in the boot camp when you were able to quit your job?
I wouldn't say I've quit completely, but I've let go of a lot of things. So I was an esthetician, and I've just been able to let go of clients. And I've been telling them along the way, like, this isn't going to last forever. I think about this a lot because like I see like some big creators still have their full-time jobs. I don't know how the heck they do it. But I know for me, it's like, okay, I just had to get to the point of where like, I've got to jump off the cliff and know that money can be up and down. But either way, it's coming. So, and it will be fine. Yeah. So, yeah. So I'm going to tell your audience just persistence and believe in yourself that I also know, okay, I can do this. And I have a couple deals like that I'm working out right now too that will really boost me income wise. But I also know like, okay, the plug can be pulled at any time. And if that happens, there are plenty of jobs to go back to as well. Yeah. Like that world of jobs is still there for you if you decide you don't succeed at YouTube and you need to go back. So as long as I can look at it that way of like, it's what is going to be more worth my time, you know, anyways, yeah. So to answer your question, yeah, I can say I'm mostly full-time YouTube now. I
Yeah,
still have like a couple of part-time jobs, but I can now say I am a full-time YouTuber.
yeah, because the thing is, though, when that you have that momentum for you on YouTube, that's not something that comes around all the time. So, like you said, like you can always go back to a job. There's tons of jobs out there, but hitting that stride and having, going viral and getting that momentum really is something you want to capitalize on and be ready to capitalize on.
Capitalizing on the momentum, yeah, I did not want to go back to like, let me just default back to my old self.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody that you see on YouTube that has achieved some success, they have had that experience of going viral. You have to, you
Yeah.
know? So it does seem as if I could see how it would seem as if like, oh, it happens to everybody because it really does. I do think that in some ways, you bring up a good point that, made me kind of think about just now. Like, as long as you keep going, right, and you're making changes and you're adjusting, getting feedback, whatever, I do believe that like at some point that will happen for you, and it does take some work to get there. My goal with the boot camp is it takes less time because you're getting more feedback to get there. But yeah, pretty much everybody that's seen success on YouTube, they have experienced that. But there's a lot of people that just give up before they even experience it, and that's what happens.
Mm-hmm. That's true. But yeah, you have to keep going and not give up.
Yeah.
Like keep going. Like that sponsor is just around the corner.
What would you tell somebody who is interested in thinking about joining the boot camp or been on the fence for the to join the boot camp?
To be successful at YouTube, like they definitely need coaching. Like hands down. It's like you can't go to the classroom and not have a teacher. So like now that I've gone through what I have with YouTube, it absolutely is like this is a business. And I will describe it to friends as like this is like getting a degree. You can't just show up and then get your degree right away. There's so much you have to learn and so much you have to put into it. So, say if you were trying to get a degree, but you didn't want to go to class, like what's going to happen? Yeah, if you don't have a teacher.
Yeah, you could try and do it on your own, but if you have somebody that can help you, it's probably a lot better.
I think that's like the biggest misconception about making money on social media is that people think, oh, it's so easy to just post a video.
Yeah, a lot
So,
more to it than that.
you do post a video. You can, that's how you start, but to really to get there and like I know I had the determination to get there. Like I have to get there and I have to get there quick because I don't want to work anymore. I don't want to work for someone else. So, and not everyone has that same conviction, so I say for people if you really want to get there, then you really need a coach. If you don't want to, just doing it like for fun here and there, then, they're probably wasting your time too. If they're not, you want people who are super motivated and believe in themselves to do it.
Yeah, 100%. Well, Michelle, thank you so much for coming on to the show and sharing your experiences on YouTube, your experiences through the boot camp. For anybody that is listening and watching and wants to find you on YouTube, where can they find you?
So my social media handle is Dial M Style. That's Dial M for Michelle, Style. So that's my Instagram and my YouTube.
Awesome. We'll put all the links in the description below. Michelle, thank you so, so much.
Thank you.
Yay. Bye.
Bye.